Recording now. Perfect. If you could just keep an eye on the chat, I'm going to give you time warnings when you're
Okay.
getting close to time, but you have 15 minutes. So whenever you're
Well,
ready, you're on with Kelsey.
thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay. Welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time and coming on. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, the first thing I want to start out asking you is you have this new movie out to fix, and what inspired you to want to write and make it?
Goodness. Well, I wrote the first draft of the script in 2013. Ironically, originally it was all set in the bathroom. The first draft was all set in the bathroom, and then it got
Oh,
such a good
wow.
got such a good reception that everyone was like, make this bigger. This can be bigger. And so we broke out of the bathroom. But that's another story. But I think back in 2013, I still think about this all the time, but I think this theme of the extent to which how we're perceived informs not only how we see ourselves, but how we engage with the world. And I don't think
Mm,
enough thought and consideration is taken with how much that molds and shapes us, and how we treat one another, because it's a really big thing, and something that like struck me a lot as a child growing up, and something I witnessed in friends all the time. But I also had a very weird experience when I was in my first day of sixth grade, because I was a really nerdy kid and I had really thick glasses, and liked horses and read under my desk, and was very much like stereotypical nerd. But then over the summer, I got contact lenses and I got a haircut. So I
okay.
wasn't in my like braids all the time anymore. I had my hair down more, and I went to the first day of sixth grade, and no one recognized me. We also had
Oh,
another
wow.
school join ours, so there was that. But I still remember, it's burned into me what that day felt like, because it was the first time in my life I had strangers making overtures of friendship to me in a way I'd never experienced
Mm,
before. And it hit me how much just this tiny change of not wearing these big, thick glasses and getting this haircut had changed how the world was interacting with me, and how
oh,
that then was changing how I was interacting with the world. And that never left me. And it's something that I've thought about a lot ever since. And I've seen it play out in different ways with dear friends, and in life, and in work, and in profiling. Um, and it's something that really gets to me. So I wanted to tell a heightened, elevated version of that from a female perspective.
oh, wow. Okay. And like your film definitely falls into the world of like thriller and sci-fi. And did you like watch any of those kind of films to like get into like a mind frame and to like get into that world?
I mean, I just said I am a massive nerd. I grew up reading. So I was devouring science fiction and fantasy from a tiny, tiny age. My father introduced me to Heinlein when I think I was like, must have been like 8, so, so yes, I have all sorts of inspiration, from many of the quote unquote greats, Asimov, Octavia Butler, many, many others. Um, but then I think also growing up in life, science fiction films and certain films really stuck with me. Fifth Element,
Mm.
Species, Hannah. Honestly, when Luc Besson came out with Lucy, I was just terrified, because I'd already written the script of the fix, and I was really worried it was going to be too similar. And I was so bleak. I was like, "No, Luke, you're like one of my favorite directors. Don't like now do the idea I've already written." And then I was
Oh
very relieved.
no.
I was very relieved because it was different enough, but it was fine.
Now you said like you wrote this a while ago. So was this written pre-COVID? Because the film has like the air pollution and the people wearing the masks. And when I
No,
when I was watching, I was like, oh, I said she probably got this from COVID because we wore masks and
everyone's gonna think that. I really don't want people thinking that. No, I wrote the first script in 2013. It's a toxic compound infecting Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, came up with that in 2013. COVID copied me.
wow. Oh wow, that's crazy. because I mean it's crazy how like writing a film like that, and many years later it actually happened because everyone was scared to go outside because of the air, and you
Right.
have to wear masks everywhere you went, and wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was surreal. And when we, finally were able to be actually shooting, I do think it's definitely influenced and affected, how cast and crew were approaching the film. I don't think anything was approached flippantly. It all had a weightiness and a sense of realism for everyone. I think because we had just come out of the pandemic. But
Yeah.
it was very strange to me because I also imagine if we'd shot it and we thought we were going to be able to go in 2019, and we actually were about to start pre-production and had to shut down because a piece of the financing ended up not being um real, so to speak. And if we'd shot in 2019 and then we're like posting, I mean, I can't even imagine. Yeah, it's just insane. So it's very meta. It's very meta.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes. And Ella in the film, like she's trying to cope with her mom's death, and she goes to a party, and something happens with her friend and her boyfriend, and she just downs these pills that she don't know what they
The
are or
vile,
anything
vile.
about them. Yes, yes, the vials. And then you like start, I mean, like you start noticing like changes in her and mutations and stuff. And how was that all like shot, like the mutations and stuff?
It's a combination of prosthetics and visual effects. I'm sort of an old Star Wars girl, not a new Star Wars girl. I try to do everything in camera if I can, and really, really appreciate every opportunity to do things in camera, um, for the realism and for the budget, as well, generally. Um, but we did as much as we could in camera, and then we supplemented with VFX when necessary, which was a really fun exercise. And I'm really grateful that I have VFX experience, because it certainly made it a lot easier to know what I could get away with and what I could do and where it was going to be hard and where it wasn't, and sort of go through that. Was really lucky. But I think, when you have a vision of mutations like that and you get to realize them, it's quite a gift. It's quite a gift. And also seeing other people's reactions, because I'm just like, this has been living rent free in my head for like over a decade, right? So I'm like, meh. And everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, it's really quite tame, actually. I don't know why you're freaking out. You know,
And Grace, who plays her, I think she's used to mutations from Stranger Things. So,
Grace is a trooper. She came on and she was so game and so keen, and just so determined to do justice to the character and all of her levels. And I really just, it's a credit to her that she got um I think all of the nuances in Ella that were so important to the story, and her vulnerability behind this very different tough facade. She really brought that, and I thought she did a remarkable job.
oh yeah, definitely. And what about the like score too? Like, cause I mean, a big part of the film is the score. Like everyone loves hearing the music in a horror film or thriller or sci-fi. And who did you have in mind? Like, how did you know the sound that you wanted for the movie?
So I have a playlist for all of my films where I just collect tracks that resonate with me for the movie. And I had quite a few tracks that I already collected for the fix over years. I think one thing that's a bit strange about the film, which some people could look at as a negative thing, is that there's definitely some eclectic music choices in there. But when you understand, it's because I wrote the script in 2013, and I was influenced by tracks from as far back as then, and had these playlists. And then you kind of like are trying to honor a time that, like, you're trying to honor the version of yourself that wrote this script, and still,
Hmm.
while still making authentic and relevant in the now. And we knew we wanted to represent and give a platform for South African artists with some really talented musicians and artists, that we wanted to give them, you know, some airtime on screen. But I always work with a composer whenever I can, whenever he's available. It's gonna get too big for me. But no, his name is Patrick Connell. He's exceptionally talented. He did the score for my first feature, Glass House, but we've known each other for years and years and years. We met at Tribeca Film Festival at a party, and it's like the best party I've ever gone to because I got to meet Patrick. And we've been really good friends since then. And he's just a auteur. He's truly a genius. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He has one of the best ears I've ever encountered, the best instincts. And what I'll do is I'll send him my collection of tracks that capture this tone and the mood of every aspect or element of the film. And I'll be like, oh, this is Ella's playlist. This is O'Connor's playlist. Yeah. This is this location playlist, like whatever. And he'll listen to it all and he'll just digest and absorb. And then he'll come back to me with something that's just exquisite. And that's his gift, and like just totally nail it. But on the fix, it was a little more challenging than usual because he was simultaneously on a much bigger job that was actually paying him properly, unlike us. And so his time was really, really limited. So he did some exceptional score work, and then we needed to supplement with licensing of actual tracks, which was always the plan, but also bring in a little bit more support with the scoring for certain sequences. And it ended up being truly a team effort, a sort of a communal effort of a lot of exceptionally talented people being like, okay, cool, I'm taking this sequence and I will realize this sequence, which is a little unusual. It was our creative solution to resources and bandwidth and all supporting each other. But I do think it captures sort of like a bit of a sense of fun in the film. Like there are some sections where we're not taking ourselves too seriously, and the music choice was exactly that. And that was like, we wanted to be able to have fun and sometimes let that be okay.
Nice. And I see we're coming on our time. So the last thing I'll ask you is, where can fans watch the film and follow you?
That's a great question. That's such a good question. Thank you for asking that. I would be so grateful. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, our distributor has told us that if we can get a certain number of pre-orders on Apple TV, the film will get featured on the platform, which for a little indie is like priceless exposure, so that people know the film exists. Amazing. So if anyone can go to Apple TV and look up The Fix, I will also send you the link, and pre-order the film on Apple before the 22nd of November. So that pre-order is in. Not only will it really, really help us get the word out that the film exists, because, nowadays, like, there's just so much content flooding the market. Like even getting, even people knowing that the film is there is challenging, just to get it in front of people. And then, but also, ironically, how many pre-orders we get indicates demand, and we'll probably get a chance at getting a better placement with our next step in distribution if we get the pre-orders. So if you want to support independent film and you want independent film to still get made, we really need the support now. Those pre-orders really count.
Yeah, definitely. And what about you? Like, where can they follow you?
I am on Instagram at kelsey.egan, KELSEY.EGAN, and then the film's Instagram profile is The Fix Film. And then we're also on Facebook as The Fix Movie.
Awesome. Well, it was really nice meeting you. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure chatting. Appreciate it.
Definitely. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great one.
All right. You too.